people who've ever heard anything that I've ever said, maybe I haven't explained it properly. Maybe I haven't articulated properly why it is that I reverence the Bill of Rights and the Constitution as much as I do. This is why. Some people consider the Bill of Rights to be a political document. Some people believe that it's a contract. Maybe that's correct. You're free to interpret it any way you want to. The way that I look at it is as a devoutly spiritual person who in my life does everything that he can to emulate the life of who we know as of Christ. I look at it as a very condensed logos. When I think of the Bill of Rights, I think about our founding fathers who were not dummies. They most certainly had looked at tyrannical governments prior to them and studied to show themselves approved, workmen that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And they said, let's look at this one individual, whether you believe he's historical or not, who, according to the story, was sinless, which means innocent, right? He didn't do anything wrong. So when I look at the Bill of Rights, I see, an endeavor to protect the rights of the individual. I see a reversal of what went wrong with the trial of Christ. For example, Christ was subject to a kangaroo court, and he was not judged by his peers. He remained silent. He was taken without warrant, without cause. There was no probable cause to search and seize Christ. And so when I look at the Bill of Rights, that's what I see. I see an attempt to answer the execution of an innocent man. Almost like whenever in the scriptures, Christ was asked, what's the greatest of the commandments? And he took all the law and the prophets and he boiled it down to two commandments. Love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. He condensed it. Well, in my opinion, I think that what the Bill of Rights is an attempted condensation of the trial of Christ. So from my spiritual point of view, taking an oath to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is a very, very serious thing. It's more serious than I think people realize who do it, which is sad because, every elected official raises their hand and they swear an oath to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and most of them don't even read it, and that's a sad, sad thing. For example, there is another veteran that I know who recently I spoke with, and they had fought in Vietnam, and they started carrying around a pocket constitution as a result of me handing them one. And I was very happy to hear that they had started to read the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and memorize it. And they swore an oath, back in the days of Vietnam, and went and fought a war for the document. But they were just now getting around to reading it. So, which I think that's the case with a lot of elected officials or anybody who swears the oath. I think that they have an idea of what the philosophy of it is: freedom, liberty for everybody. And yes, that's true. But I don't think that most people who swear an oath to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, reverence it in the way that I reverence it, as if it were a condensation of the trial of Christ. Especially, a lot of people who are evangelical Christians within government or within, any office where that oath was taken. I don't think they look at it that way either. I think they think it's maybe a complicated document that only lawyers can understand. And, so they'll just raise their hand and willy-nilly swear an oath to it and whatever, which is very, very sad. And I think a lot of elected officials, if they were honest, and you asked them, hey, when's the last time you actually cracked it open and read it? You know, it would be an embarrassing answer, I'm sure. So, you know, it was good to hear from my veteran friend in that capacity that he was becoming disheartened, that he was there's no doubt about it how many people are just violating the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and their oath. It's just very, very obvious now. And you see it everywhere. You see the entire structure of our dead republic's law has been diminished to, you know, whatever modern day scribes and Pharisees say, which is that's your lawyers and your judges, in case you didn't know. And as a result of it being diminished incrementally and now chunk by chunk, we're in the state of affairs that we're in.
That's the end of this clip, but the full episode is waiting for you. Subscribe to the Downloaded Content Podcast on Spotify or watch on YouTube. For more behind-the-scenes content and exclusive access, sign up for the Downloaded Content newsletter. And while you're at it, pick up Then Came the Flood by Louis Crumpton, available now wherever books are sold.